long as you...
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's another dimension and parallel universe gateway of space. It's a paisley journey through infinity and alternate reality. Transport yourself. Spiritual potential infinity.
Yeah, spiritual like infinity.
Could someone help me find the right pen with which to teleport to this other dimension?
Welcome to Sci-Fi Tomorrow. I'm your host Andrew White, and with me is my guest Chris Rawlings, author of Alternate Realities and the Zeon Colony. Chris, which philosophers have influenced you throughout your life?
Philosophers like Socrates, Gandhi, Buddha, the different religious philosophies, not necessarily a certain one in particular. Isaac Asimov, even authors of books. Everyone went from Hermann Hesse to Albert Einstein, John Lennon, even Dr. Leary, and more, I guess.
Now, did they play a role in your creation of Crimson Society?
No, my interpretation of Crimson Society and philosophy was all based on an original, unique idea that I had that wasn't necessarily influenced by any particular philosophy or anyone else's religious. It was a way to incorporate all different ideas and basically think outside of the box in order to find new constructive ways to explain the contradictions of society.
Now, has world history influenced the setting of the Zeon Colony?
19th and 20th century world history provided a familiar setting that the public could relate to from the memory of their subconscious, but in the midst of such an alien world as Zeon, I would say history was meant to be remembered so we could learn from our mistakes, but I'm putting it in a hypothetical science fiction context to focus on other philosophical issues.
You seem to have dabbled in many religions to explain your theories. What about the non-mainstream religion, say Scientology, for instance? Do you even consider having a religion?
That's a complicated question. I think Scientology is interesting, but I don't necessarily believe everything in Scientology necessarily. I technically believe I was Christian. I was baptized. I believe in parts of Christianity, but I feel like the contradictions of man-made laws are almost always flawed. So we kind of like to incorporate different ideas from different religions to find the truth. I believe in a loving God that in the universe that gives us the freedom of choice to pursue our own ideas for happiness and our own free will, but I believe also there's a need for religion as a moral context and good example for society to live by. But it's interesting to me, but my philosophy is a unique way of incorporating a lot of different ideas and finding that within contradictions sometimes it makes the truth stronger when you can understand the contradictions. And I don't think science has to exclude religion, so I guess you could consider me an agnostic in my own unique way. I define God as a universal energy force of consciousness that unites spirits after we die with an electromagnetic energy that is set free to roam galaxies, until it's recycled or into a human or alien's form according to how we define organisms through God or science, and it's up to everyone to believe what they want to believe. I just believe opposites must exist for a reason, to complement each other.
In your first book, Alternate Realities, you jump through world history influenced
the reader necessarily. I was imagining what alternate realities would be like if it were a movie. I've seen movies that start out in the middle or at the end of a story and to leave it a mystery, and then flash back earlier in order to tell the rest of the story and explain how they got to that point where the beginning was at the end to cause suspense. I was incorporating poetry and prose in a philosophical way to also unite themes about hypothetical utopian science fiction societies in a science fiction setting for the theme, to basically elaborate on, pushing the boundaries of my imagination to think outside of the box and find alternative solutions to many of the contradictions and problems we face in society.
In your first book, Alternate Realities, you jump through time to the future, then past, to the present, back to the future. This book, however, seemed to flow more precisely. Do you feel this is a reflection of you growing as an author, or did you have to jump around so much to demonstrate the concept of the title?
I was imagining what alternate realities would be like if it were a movie, and I've always liked movies that start out in the middle or the end of the story as a mystery and then flash back to earlier in order to tell the rest of the story and explain how they got to where they were at the beginning, because it builds suspense. I was incorporating poetry with prose, and I had to unify my philosophical theories about a hypothetical utopian society in a science fiction setting for the main theme. So I'd like to incorporate different ideas, think outside the box, to find that the complicated contradictions of life makes it stronger sometimes.
Alright, now let us take a break to hear from the Alien Spaceship Band.
Alien Spaceship.
It's getting near the tape end. Thanks for joining us.
let's see what band they're having on board the Cosmic Cruiser tonight. Shall we? Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, yeah.
stepping on board Cosmic Cruiser.
What the heck was that sound? Cannot see. We're falling on the ground.
What have you? We have Rawlings friends and
What does God need money for?
Yeah.
Materialism.
About just say.
Like, what are people really creatively ultimately get into, I guess?
This depends on what idea to focus on.
Like,
Everyone has an idea to collaborate. You're freaking me out when you make me feel like I'm worried about what you're worried about. Just say paranoid.
Another planet. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Another planet. Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Another planet. Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Another planet. That's what the spaceship that controls her. Another planet is Captain Planet. I mean, to another planet.
Tased or watch out.
Another planet. And have a space station just heading across through the universe to the other planet.
In the Zeon sector.
Hi, Chris. The Zeon Colony is the sequel to Alternate Realities.
Yes.
Where does the second book pick up from?
Well, at the end of the first book, Alternate Realities, the alien lizard Watts had kidnapped Captain Reg, and I think Crimson was being interrogated by the Star Cops, Crimson being the main character, about whereabouts of their hypothetical utopian society was, because the Star Cops were suspicious that maybe the aliens had, kidnapped him and taken him there to some other planet. So they're still looking for this missing Star Cop that was kidnapped by the aliens, and the Star Cops are hoping that Crimson will help them also reveal the location of his lost hypothetical utopian society, the planet of the Gnomes.
So, how long did it take you to write and illustrate your second novel?
Oh, that over the course of years, it depends. It's hard to measure exactly an amount of hours, because I had written part of the story of Alternate Realities before, off and on, when I was in college, but I didn't have full time to focus on it because of my college studies in video production, and I wrote it off and on, and then went back to finishing the ending, putting the finishing touches on it, and rewriting some of it after I graduated from college when I had more time to focus on it. And then the second was basically compiled from other pieces of writing that I put together. The illustrations, some of them were newer than other ones, some of them had been left over from years before that I reworked and added more to them. Some of them that were originally fluorescent neon colored artwork that goes in a black light, but it costs enough, it's too expensive to have them printed in regular color, so I couldn't find a company that could print them in full fluorescent color. So that's why the internal illustrations are black and white, but some of them are, colored pencil drawings from when I was in high school. It took months, depending on the detail. Some of them are more, recent. It depends on which ones you're referring to.
So, what's your view on the sci-fi genre in other novels compared to your two books?
I've always respected really intellectual, philosophical science fiction that, can tackle controversial issues in a tasteful, intellectual way. I like Isaac Asimov, but, I like the idea of, I've always thought aliens could have influenced the evolution of humanity. I like exploring different ideas. Sometimes you have to stretch your imagination as far as you can go to find an alternative solution to the contradictions of society, as I've said before. I don't know. Technology is easily replaceable, but a person's soul is not. So I wasn't just focusing on the technology of science, but more how we're losing sight of our souls with the advancement of technology. There's a place for that too. What is, the point of having free will? There must be a reason for that. I feel like there's a reason for everything. So I kind of feel like it's up to us to develop our own purpose and help contribute to the evolution of ideas of society. And how can you do that without exploring new ideas?
So how would you describe your writing style?
Oh, I would say surrealistic with a poetic and prose and philosophical touch. I suppose I'm an artist also, so I use a lot of imagery for poetry, but I also like to use metaphors, and like to think of philosophical ways to set up hypothetical utopian societies, just to see what might work, what might not. It's just interesting to speculate.
If you were trying to sell this book to someone who has never heard of you or read Alternate Realities, what would you give them as a one-liner to buy your book?
Well, I don't claim to know all of the answers. I'm just exploring the questions like anyone else. Everyone's welcome to their own interpretation, but I guess to sum it all up, the Zeon Colony I would say is about a hypothetical utopian society in the future on another planet.
Alright. Thank you for your time, Chris.
Thank you for having me in the interview in Sci-Fi Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be on the show and hear the alien space band, the spaceship alien band, or whatever. It's nice to hear them jam.
And that's all for tonight, folks. We'll see you another time.
Another space in a parallel universe. Well, I don't claim to know all of the spaceship alien band, or whatever. It's nice to hear them jam.
And that's all for tonight, folks. We'll see you another time.
Another space in a parallel universe.
We're ready to come down. Waiting for someone to come around. We're waiting for Whitney to get waiting for the day when we could say the blades of grass would change now, and the different colors of each separate blade of grass into different colors, separated into shades that hadn't even been invented yet among us. A multicolored flora for us. Among us, the aliens plant a life from silicon cyborgs. Aliens growing life forms there.